Good evening. A world-renowned killer whale expert on Vancouver Island is speaking out tonight. He says the orca that killed its trainer at Seaworld in Florida yesterday is not to blame. That whale is now linked to 3 deaths, including one on Vancouver Island nearly 20 years ago. Tilikum was shipped to the Orlando Seaworld after killing a young trainer at Sealand of the Pacific in Oak Bay in 1991. We caught up with Dr. Paul Spong today in Orca Bay near the famous killer whale habitat of Johnstone Straight. A News reporter Gord Kurbis has the story.
This is the way whale expert Dr. Paul Spong says whales should be enjoyed by humans, with us going carefully into their habitat. He says the mammals are just too big and have too many needs to be kept in aquariums.
They live in a world of sound. When you put them in a little concrete tank, you're shutting them off from every natural sound that they have grown over a very long period of evolution to depend on.
In the 70s, Spong founded Orca Lab, a research facility focusing on the whale's acoustics. He says labs like his, whale-watching excursions, or interpretive centers like the one in Telegraph Cove are better than what whales face in aquariums.
They're acoustically isolated and they're socially isolated, and then the combination adds up to a lot of stress.
He says that stress is what contributes to their shortened lifespan in captivity, and he's convinced it's the main factor behind the 3 deaths now associated with a 30-year-old Tilikum.
For many years, he was confined overnight in a tiny little steel tank. I think this was a security device, but I think it had a terrible impact on Tilikum and the other whales.
Spong says whales have incredible restraint and total awareness of what they're doing. That's why he doubts what happened yesterday in Florida was an accident.
If they do something like this, I'd say that there's a deliberate component to it, probably. But in Tilikum's case, I think there's also a disconnect component.
Spong says it's time for places like SeaWorld to follow the lead of perhaps the Vancouver Aquarium, who no longer have any orcas in their possession. And by the way, he's not really thrilled with the fact that they still have beluga whales there. Anyways, he'd like to see the orcas be put back into the ocean in a special facility where they can live out their final years. But Spong doubts SeaWorld would let Tilikum go because of his value to the company. He echoes the belief he heard from a former SeaWorld trainer.
Tilikum is a money stream for SeaWorld. He's sired at least 13 offspring. I think what they're probably going to do with him is isolate him further.
And that, Spong fears, will make the situation even worse. In Alert Bay, Gord Kurbis, A News.